I just don't care. If I see something bad going on, I'm just going to be like, I don't care.
There's really no way you can argue with Casey's apathy.
I was going to say this week's vocabulary word on Sesame Street is apathy.
Welcome to the Beacon House Podcast, recorded live in Knoxville, Tennessee.
And that's why I think Permit Patty, Barbecue Becky, and ID Adam have all taught us a valuable lesson in minding our own goddamn business.
Who are these people?
Oh, you've not heard about this?
I have.
Oh my
that
gosh.
was really funny.
I don't know.
Casey, do you have a topic you want to talk about this week?
No. This is Mailbag number 2. We're doing that. So Permit Patty, Barbecue Becky, and ID Adam are 3 people in the last 3 months who have called the cops on minorities doing something they think is wrong. Then turns out that they're wrong, and they get in a bunch of trouble, lose their jobs, and get a funny nickname for being a piece of shit.
Is this on social media?
Yeah.
I haven't seen it.
And people actually record these people doing this, so you
Yeah.
actually have pictures of all these people calling in the cop.
Who's the first one again?
Barbecue Becky,
Who's the last one?
That sounds like a G.I. Joe.
ID Adam.
He sounds like a high-quality bitch to me.
Yeah.
It's very easy to mind your own business. And that's why I just don't care. When people ask me, they're like, "Well, what do you mean when you don't care?" I just don't care. If I see something bad going on, I'm just going to be like, I don't care.
There's really no way you can argue with Casey's apathy.
I was going to say this week's vocabulary word on Sesame Street is apathy.
Folks, listen, this is the Beacon House Podcast. Thank you guys for tuning in. We've really been waiting on this one for a long time. This is the second Mailbag episode number 20. And we have brought in a very special co-host to help us with the questions.
Hey.
Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Rachel Reetz.
Hey.
Rachel, please introduce yourself to our audience.
My name is Rachel Reetz. I'm a longtime friend of our 3 lovely podcast hosts here, and they have invited me in to read them some questions.
That's right.
To interview them.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
right. And before we get too far into our stupid crap, I want to mention that Rachel is a absolute cornerstone member of the local dance community, and she's been doing it for years. And anytime there's ever been any kind of a dance event or an establishment in Knoxville that featured dancers or go-go dancing or anything like that, she's absolutely had her involvement in it and like that. Could you tell us a little bit about what all you've done and what you've been doing around Knoxville for years and years now?
Oh, gosh. Pretty much any venue that have had dancers or any teams that have been put together in the Knoxville area have eventually accepted me as a team member, or I've even actually been scouted before within the community. But I started out with the Voodoo Dolls over at Valerium, and I've been with every establishment at that particular venue since, and I've even danced at Southbound and Envy. And
You've even danced in the same room as Bass Banana.
I have.
For those of you that have listened in the past to our podcast, Casey's
Alter ego.
His alter ego, his superhero name, Bass Banana.
I see the banana in the sky. I hop in my
That's
Banana
right.
mobile.
my phone. I have my phone booth and switch to my
Criminals
banana
watch your
outfit.
feet. There's banana peels everywhere.
Oh my gosh, he stole my purse as I come dancing through.
That's right. Rachel Reetz and Bass Banana have been dancing in the same establishment at the same time for any of those.
I mean,
it's an ugly
I
stain on your past.
I threw away the whole banana outfit and gloves and everything. They were a little too ripe.
What?
Geez, the fruit
That was
puns.
reaching. Rachel-
So everybody that tuned into this episode did not expect this many fruit puns.
You guys ready to peel into these questions?
Jesus. Oh my God. All right. So without further ado,
This is such a shit show already.
it is. Rachel, I'm glad you signed up for this because it's going to be this is a humdinger.
Well, welcome to the Thunderdome.
Edit for continuity, not content.
So, without further ado, let's move into some of the questions. We do not know, Rachel, we've assigned Rachel the job of reading us these questions in whatever order she chooses, and so we don't know what's coming, and we're going to try to react as honestly. And also, we're going to give Rachel a chance to chime in and comment on them as well if she would like. So, what's the first question, right?
the first question is from Timothy Novello, and it is for Hunter, actually. Who is Godzilla's most formidable foe and why?
Ooh.
Oscars.
Ooh.
Get
Oh my gosh.
shit.
They can hope
Sorry.
for an MTV
Sorry.
Movie
You know what?
Award.
Just man, I'm looking at Hunter right now. Just, hey man, just see the light, soldier through.
Okay. 2 answers, but short ones. Technically, Destroya or Destroya, depending.
What? And I don't know.
That's the Metal Godzilla, right?
No, that's.
Can you describe
Mechagodzilla.
the two? Because I don't know who these.
Yeah.
I don't know who
Okay.
these
So
are.
Destroya is like if the Queen alien Godzilla itself, 90s Godzilla, like the Thunder Thigh one, beautiful Godzilla. Those two and the Devil had an offspring. It's this big, giant, like bat-winged, multi-mouth, like puckered butthole chest thing with horns, and it flies. And a lot of people give that one credit because it quote unquote killed Godzilla in 1995. Ultimately, I'm going to say that's a stupid answer. Not that you're stupid for thinking that, if those of you Godzilla fans out there think that, but you're wrong.
All 2.5 of you.
Yeah, 2.5 billion. But one, he was just in
That
a
was
movie where
snarky.
Godzilla died. He didn't kill him. So, anyways, really, it would probably be Roland Emmerich because the '98 film, despite being one that I love, really damaged the character for a while. Or King Ghidorah, which Casey loves to call Gamora.
Yeah, King Gamora.
King Gamora, 3-headed dragon from space, golden, shoots lightning. Really took all the monsters to beat in one film, and was the only one that really got to cross over into like a Mothra series and all that stuff. Popular, it's the Joker of the Godzilla franchise.
Casey.
Yes.
You're up next.
Ooh, bring it on.
What is an admittedly terrible movie that you think everyone should see at least once?
That's a great answer.
He's been talking about it since the podcast started.
What movie's that?
Any M. Night Shyamalan movie?
No, actually, I don't think any of his movies are terrible, so he doesn't make the list.
Including Lady in the Water. I like Lady in the Water.
Lady in the Water was people. It's my argument every time. People want originality in their movies. Lady in the Water was as original idea as it could get from him, and people shit all over it. And they're like, "That's not what I meant. I wanted something that I kind of vaguely remember." And I like Lady in the Water.
People want original as long as it's got a superhero suit and emblem and a arch villain.
But what movie do you
on it.
not like, but you still think people should see?
I know. I tied between 2. I know I couldn't. I tried so hard to pick just one of these. Devil's Pass is not a good movie. The ending kind of saves it. So if you can withstand all the way to the very end,
Is that
it's
the
an
Wendigo
interesting
movie?
ending.
Like a 1990s...
It's about Dietlov's Pass. So
oh, right.
it's about a group
Okay.
of kids that go up into Dietlov's Pass looking for answers to why the other 9 campers were radiated and anyways.
Is
it's
that the
whole
one
thing.
you said was a slow burn that you've been talking about recently?
I don't think so.
No, okay.
That's probably Hereditary, and we've
Yeah.
talked about that a
Okay.
lot.
The other one is Sucker Punch.
I totally fucking agree with that. Except I don't think that's a bad movie.
I don't. It's
I
not,
didn't like it, but
it's-
why do you think people should see it?
Because it's just a fun watch. Like, it really is just enjoyable and entertaining, even though at the end of it you're like, I really didn't get much from that. There's not really anything that I left
Sure.
from that movie being like,
So it's like the movie version of getting some popcorn, sitting down, and throwing a Godzilla film on.
no, because I mean, at least in that, like, this movie literally just, the characters at the beginning have no real merit to them, and then throughout the movie they do badass things, and at the end of the movie there's really no end goal. And you're just like, oh, okay.
Yeah, and I want to say something too. Like, I don't think that every movie has to be like this existential fucking experience. You know
That's
what I'm
true.
like? At the end of the day, you're just sitting there staring at a big rectangle, whether it's your
Yeah.
phone, a movie screen, a TV screen, and you're just vegging out watching something. And regardless, and again, like you were talking about the M. Night Shyamalan movies, I don't like them. Lots of people like them, and they're not bad just because I don't like them. But
He's making a comeback.
well, here's the thing. You said everybody wants an original concept, and they do, but I don't think a movie gets a pass just for having an original concept. Original concept could still be tremendously underwhelming, which his movies are to me. Not necessarily to you, but like he could have the most original, earth-breaking, like,
You didn't like The Village.
no.
My mom didn't like The Village.
I don't like
Such a great mystery
I just
movie.
don't like where it goes. I think I just don't like his stories. Like, as far as like his concept and the originality of it, and like his placement, and maybe even his like timing, whatever. I just don't really like the stories that he tells. It's a personal thing. It's not a big thing.
Well,
but
for me with M. Night Shyamalan, I like his stories, but for me it's also the process and how he films movies,
Sure.
which I really love.
It's just it comes down to like, it's like a flavor thing. I don't like this flavor. You like that flavor. But what I'm saying is a movie could be super deep and original with all these layers and all this crap and still kind of fall flat to me. And a movie could also be extremely superficial, like Sucker Punch. Or like another one I like is the movie Sex Drive. Did you ever see the movie Sex Drive? It's one of my favorite movies ever. I think it's so funny. I think the dialogue, the character interaction is so funny. And it is one of the corniest movies. It's about these kids that drive to Knoxville, coincidentally, for this guy to like lose his virginity to some girl he met online. And it's just this big stupid thing. But I love them. It's so funny to me. But it's not a deep movie at all. It surely isn't going to move anybody, you know.
Yeah.
So, I mean, again, that's in defense of Sucker Punch. I don't think a movie has to be like... I thought Sucker Punch was visually stimulating, and I loved all the music in it. I thought it was like real entertaining to watch. Yeah, I don't know.
Did I get that right? Did I do... I'm trying to remember.
I think
like,
so.
I got the question.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Pretty much a bad movie that everyone should see once. I actually have one. I won't talk
Let's
about
hear
it
it.
too much.
Sure.
Let's hear it.
Swiss Army Man. It came out in 2016.
Is that
with, Daniel Radcliffe?
farting or whatever? all
Yeah,
the time?
yeah. I sat through the whole thing trying to figure out why I was still watching it, but then at the end, I just had so many questions, and there was actually a lot of deep thought that was provoked from it. So I do suggest that if you want to watch a very, very weird movie that's going to make you uncomfortable at times, make you laugh at other times, and make you just go, what the F, I would suggest Swiss Army Man. See it at least once.
I wanted to see it. I just never got around to seeing it. But I remember thinking like, oh, I got it. I got to at least give that a shot, you know?
It's ultimately depressing, but...
Is it?
Yeah. Anyways, Spencer, would
Okay.
you like you actually have two questions because one of them's kind of a
Jealous.
funny question, but it's actually one I would like to know the answer to as well, being a dinosaur fanatic.
Oh, shit.
Which dinosaur was the best for riding back in the day?
You would know.
Rachel, a question like this is what fans of paleontology like you and I would like to refer to as a loaded question. Like, at what point are you going to talk about? Obviously, nothing that had like a big sail or a bunch like Stegosaurus from like the Cretaceous period,
Or the Spinosaurus?
Why
the
could-
Spinosaurus, or something like even further back from the Permian period, like Dimetrodon, which is not actually a dinosaur, but it had that big sail, you know. And all
I
that
didn't
kind
even know that. I love Dimetrodon. That's not a dinosaur?
Usually included in, everybody Google this, usually included in packs of dinosaur toys is Dimetrodon,
Yeah,
which is just look like
because it's awesome.
It looked like a Komodo dragon with a big sail on its back, basically. But that actually came way before dinosaurs in the Permian period, and it's just a big reptile for whatever that's good for. Anyway, the question is, what would be the best dinosaur to ride on its back?
Based on
yeah,
your
because I mean, a
experience.
T-Rex is too large and too dangerous. Same with the Velociraptor, too small but too dangerous. And those are also obvious ones. I know you know so many more dinosaurs than what we all grew up knowing.
I would say probably one of the pterosaurs, like one of the flying dinosaurs.
Even with
'cause
their hollow bones and stuff?
whatever, you could strap. Dude, some of them are huge.
See, I feel like outside of, the lack of oxygen problem with that, I think your answer would have best been described if you use the Jason Statham voice and just went like, a megalodon.
You definitely don't want to ride that because it goes underwater and you're going to die.
But it would be fun to ride.
Would you think a Notosaurus or Notosaurus is the best one to ride?
I would not. Or honestly, Triceratops. Why not that? You could get right
That
in
was going
behind
to be
that.
my answer.
You could get right in behind that big, whatever its head has that big bony crest. You could hold onto that like a steering wheel and just kick ass. It has been proposed by certain paleontologists that there actually was never such thing as a Triceratops. That all the bones they found that they think are Triceratops were actually juvenile Protoceratops.
I reject that.
Possibly somebody has an opinion. We'll see what happens.
I'm sorry, like paleontology, I love you and I want to know the science of things because dinosaurs are awesome. You can also stop at some point though. Feathers are cool. They don't all have them. T-Rexes look better when they stand upright,
But-
drag their tail, and are made of crocodile
But
scales.
what about the Xenoceratops?
I really was a big fan of Aliens Colonial Marines for the PlayStation 3, and I think it got a lot of grief for no good reason.
Was there another part to that question?
There's a more serious part. It has
Shit.
nothing to do with dinosaurs, but there is an actual
Damn it, I love dinosaurs.
intellectual question geared towards you from Timothy.
I'm the wrong guy to ask about intellectual things.
No, I actually think you'll probably have a good
Don't
answer
sell
to
yourself
this.
too short.
Can you remember a speech that inspired you? It could be from a historical or fictional figure, no limits.
There have been a whole bunch of them. The Steve Jobs, this is a real famous one, and a lot of people know the Steve Jobs speech about stay hungry was real big on me. And also the Bill Gates, when Bill Gates gave like a commencement speech to some place where he just absolutely let him know, like, like, you're not too good to flip burgers. Your grandparents had like a word for it, and it was called opportunity. Don't think that you're too good to do this. Don't think that you're too good to work for minimum wage. Like, he just absolutely, your parents were exciting people before they had you. You know what I mean? He just like...
If I may, I'd actually like to take a crack at that question.
Please, I'd like to hear what you guys think.
There's a speech I found not too long ago, probably earlier this year.
Sure.
Maybe late last year. It's a former president, well known for giving great speeches and all that stuff, so not surprised that he did this, but it's Kennedy.
Yeah.
And not to belie the tragedy of his passing or anything, my parents were around for that, and they can, like anybody that was, tell you, where they were and how they found out and all that. But his speech on secret societies and importance of not having those and not obstructing truth in government, and how important it was for the press to hold everyone, including him, accountable, that he gave right before he was killed.
Is this the one? Yeah, this is the one that people point to and they go,
yeah, that's probably what got him axed.
Oh, he's gone. Like, he just got out. He did one of those things like I talk about Ron Paul. Mm-hmm. He went on TV and told the truth.
Yeah.
And you're just like, oh, shit, his days are numbered.
Listening to Kennedy give that so earnestly, too, like, you can tell that he means it. It was the first time ever in my life that I was able to, like, put myself in the shoes of someone that was there when he was president, and it broke my heart. I was like, can you imagine? I mean, I guess if that is what killed him or got him killed, I can see why. But if he had been able to actually hold fast to that and hadn't been killed, how different in a good way things could be right now. The fall of Camelot and all that being like the dynasty of his family, I get, but that was the first thing. It's such a profound speech, and it's worth listening to because it's all true and I think important and vital. But that affected me because of that, but also thinking, what a tragedy. Like, finally going, I wish he had stayed around the whole time.
Michael Caine's speech at the end of Interstellar, the whole, like, don't go gently into that good night, and that whole speech he gives when Matthew McConaughey is going through the black hole and you see Anne Hathaway on the new planet and stuff like that. I thought that was awesome.
Spencer, have you seen Interstellar yet?
Still haven't seen it.
Spencer.
I know. I know.
You all ready to move on?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. This next one is from one of your friends, John Ferguson.
Oh,
did I get that right?
Ferg.
John.
Yeah.
John Ferguson.
He sent a whole barrage of questions. We've selected a select few that we
Ferguson
think
has
are...
been known to be mentally assaulting in the best way. John Ferguson, if you're listening, we love you. You've done a lot to help us out, and we look forward to answering these questions.
And every question you've ever sent, including the ones we don't air.
The questions we feel that are podcast friendly are Hunter.
Yeah, that was a good way.
That's great.
That was a good way to bracket that in.
So, Hunter, John would like to know why you avoid him like an ex-wife.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, let's see what's going on here.
I've been chalking it up to being sick or scheduling conflicts. I'm a busy guy.
Not liking to drive downtown. You're not a busy guy.
I am. I don't like driving downtown. That's also fair, but that wouldn't keep me from you. Ultimately, what it comes down to is you're a very talented artist and a successful one.
So intimidation?
No, not intimidation. Jealousy.
Oh, okay.
I am jealous.
So you are an ex-wife.
We're going to get down to the root of it. Yeah. I'm waiting on alimony.
Well, anyways, moving on. He would also like to know if the Gold State Warriors go undefeated next year. Do you guys think they will?
Probably.
Nah.
Now you think they'll lose a couple?
They'll lose a couple. In my opinion, they're the best team in history. And I know that I understand the 95 Chicago Bulls, and I get it, but this year they're going to have 5 all-star starters on their team.
The 95 Chicago Bulls were responsible for giving us Space Jam, and nothing can fix that.
I feel like if you watch the Golden State Warriors now, it's like watching Space Jam, except they're not as annoying.
I hate basketball.
What is basketball?
Well, if for some reason that they don't win at least 78 games, do you guys think Spencer should be forced to get a tattoo?
100% yes.
Can it be of a...
That's basically just like me getting a tattoo. Nobody's going to win 78 games. Didn't they had a 73-win season two years ago?
Yeah.
The year they didn't win in the finals. They got beat by LeBron in the finals, but they had the most winning season of any team in NBA history that year, which I think was 73 wins. So no, they're not going to go 78. They're not going to go 78 wins.
If you were to get a tattoo, Spencer,
yeah,
what would it be?
I have kind of a sappy answer to this.
Go for it.
Do you guys really want to know?
Yeah.
I do.
I'd expect this to come up on the mailbag episode. Okay, for starters, and I don't have any tattoos. For full disclosure, anybody listening, I haven't had a tattoo yet. I'm not
Except that tramp
anti-tattoo.
stamp.
No, well, that was a weird time for me, Casey. And you and I were hanging out a lot, and you wore those pretty dresses.
Yeah, well,
You can only see it under black light.
That's true.
that's true.
That's true.
Only way I wanted you to see it.
If I'm actually a big fan of tattoos. I know a lot of people that have a lot of good ink. I like it, and I think there's a lot of cool tattoos that you could get. I've never been able to decide on one. And more than what would I get if I ever got one, I know the conditions under which I would get one. Shout out to my good friend Amanda, she just moved from Knoxville up to New Jersey. And she was the owner of Ambition Tattoo here in Knoxville. She was in charge of the Knoxville and Chattanooga tattoo conventions. She's been a super good friend of mine for a really long time, and one of the most talented tattoo artists I've ever seen in my life. And all I know is if I do get a tattoo ever, I'm going to have her do it. So now it's going to be a little bit longer of a drive, but still, it would be something like that. So shout out to her. If anybody listening here does not live in Knoxville or is going to be occasioning in New Jersey for any reason, you guys have got to go visit Park Avenue Tattoo in New Jersey, which now features our friend Amanda.
So what's the tattoo?
Do you guys remember the animated movie Secret of Nim?
Yeah.
Oh, I love that movie.
I've never told anybody this. There was a point in the movie where like everybody's about to die, and like the pendant comes up out of the mud or whatever, and the main character, whatever, grabs it. But there's a line where they said, "Courage of the heart is very rare, and the stone has a power when it's there." And it was going to be something about that.
I like that.
And it would be like a picture of the pendant and maybe that saying around it or something. And
That's actually a really cool idea.
Yeah, it was somewhere. Basically, it would be sort of a tribute to just like how fucking hard everything is, and like how, it's rare you see people that are actually brave right down to their core in terms of like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that have like a loud mouth and like a smart attitude or whatever like that, but real true courage is extremely rare, and you find it only in certain human beings, and it's blah blah.
Like
blah,
The
blah.
Rock.
I'm hugely sentimental, and I tell people that I don't have any tattoos, and then when I do, I want to be like, have an ankle bracelet type charm bracelet where each charm is a memory of someone that I've loved that's passed away. And
Sure.
somebody looked at me and they're like, why do you want to look at yourself and remember such sad times? And I'm like, it's not for sad times. It's to remember the happy times and then to carry those happy times with me.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not the kind of person that's going to look at something sentimental and get sad.
Sure.
I'm going to look at it and try to remember the better things and try to find inspiration in what they've taught me in my life. So, but fortunately, I don't have any tattoos yet.
There was a time in my life where I thought about getting a tattoo, probably on my back. I thought
Tramp stamp.
no, that'd be a good place for this though.
Insert here. An arrow pointing down.
It was going to be of a rotting, bruised, and swollen piece of flesh that had been stapled or sewn on, and it was going to have the name of everyone I'd ever dated and broken up with on it, and crossed
savage.
out.
So, our next one is from a listener that has been listening to you all since the first episode, and you brighten her morning every Thursday. Her
Sweet.
name is
Thank you.
Heather Liang.
Heather, thank you so much for that email.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But here is your question. If you could see any movie or movie franchise made into a musical, which one would that be? And bonus points if you can throw together a few lines of one of the tunes.
Oh.
Ooh,
I got it.
Casey's got it.
I
Take
got
this
it.
one. Take this all the way to Mars.
The Shining.
Why?
That would be the greatest musical of all
Explain
time.
yourself.
Are you kidding me?
That's a terrible. No, not answer.
Can you
The
just
an-
picture
yeah.
Jack Nicholson with the axe? Just
Here's
like,
Johnny.
yeah, just like, and here I am, and here I am. Just like smashing. And then you have the guy like driving back to the, because he has the shining gift like the kid.
Yeah.
He's driving through the snow and he's like, gotta get back. The kid's gonna get in trouble.
I think it could even be a Christmas movie, like
I don't even
all
wanna
work and no play.
Well, Ewan McGregor was in a recently very popular musical, and he's now going to be in the Shining sequel. Maybe Dr. Sleep will be a musical.
Oh, wait a minute. They're doing a Shining sequel?
Yeah, Dr. Sleep. It's a movie with Ewan
No,
McGregor.
wait a hold up. Why are they not just remaking The Shining first and then move it to Dr. Sleep? I think it's a little weird to do a sequel this far after.
I think because there's the problem of competing with the original, and then also people not caring because even though it's Stephen King, it doesn't have the clown in it. But Dr. Sleep has a lot of weird quasi-creature things in it, so it can
Okay.
kind of...
Well, that's it, we're getting off.
guessing,
We're
I don't
getting
know.
off
Yeah,
point.
yeah.
My answer is The Shining, and I gave you a couple little taste songs there off the top of my head that are
Shit,
terrible.
that's pretty good.
Yeah, movie or movie franchise. Have
you got one?
I have a couple. I'm trying to pick one.
He's going to
So,
pick Godzilla.
Yeah, well, okay.
I'm
look.
trying to resist picking Godzilla.
I was going to go with a Stephen King movie, and I was going to say Pet Sematary, but I got to say Shining is way better in terms of adaptation into like a musical thing. So I'm gonna switch lanes a little bit, and I'm going to say if I could have a movie made into a musical, it would be Pulp Fiction.
Okay.
Okay.
I
What
see that.
song? Do you have a song?
I don't have a song, but like just anybody that's seen Pulp Fiction, just imagine those characters
Say
singing.
what one more time, motherfucker.
There you go. There you go. There you go. Exactly.
Oh man.
Picture every scene in Pulp Fiction, but set to
Get a
music.
Royale with cheese. Oh.
Let's
don't know.
see.
That wasn't. You should stop now.
I won't pick Godzilla.
you should
It's
see it.
technically
I
a
tried.
musical already. All the sound effects were instruments. So trivia fact there. We'll go with The Mist. Actually, Stephen King's The Mist. Not even to keep it Stephen King style, but it could be like Repo the Genetic Opera. It'd be like a super dark metal kind of musical, and the song could just be Thomas Jane screaming over and over again for 2 hours. It'd be like the log line of the preview.
Which, by the way, Repo the Genetic Rock Opera is a phenomenal movie if no one's ever seen it. Like,
Nope.
it is fun.
Tell us about it.
You've never, I figured you of all people would have seen Repo the Genetic Rock Opera.
I have no idea what that is.
Paris Hilton's in it. And
That's-
she actually has a singing bit and is actually not terrible.
It's not a big selling point for me, but
So anyways, it's basically a musical. The story is that in the future you can rent organs to keep yourself alive, but if you don't make the price, Repo comes and takes them. They made an actual movie called Repo.
Man.
That's pretty
Repo
good.
Man, based off the musical. The musical's way better. It's just, oh man, it's so good. It's so fun.
that's pretty cool. I also heard the Book of Mormon is in Knoxville this week.
Yeah.
Like a shout out our previous guest Brandon Harmon is going to see it this Thursday downtown.
I
I think
I
that'd
have
be
one
funny.
more. Before
Well,
we
you have
move
another
on.
movie?
I have
go.
another movie before we move on. Schindler's List.
Jesus.
And next question. Next question.
Jesus.
Can I throw out mine?
You know what?
Yeah,
Mine?
please.
You know, Rachel, I really wish somebody would say something intelligent.
Actually, I think it would actually do pretty well, but you really have to have an open mind for it. The Crow. There's enough emotion and enough action that I think that you would have
See,
energetic music.
That would be actually good.
Depressing.
God bless you for that
music.
answer.
Written
Oh my goodness.
by My Chemical Romance.
And the kind of music you could bring into it could be more modern, alternative. I mean, similar
Sure.
to the original soundtrack, but I kind of see like a Sweeney Todd vibe, like where it's dark.
Yeah.
And I don't know, just I think it would be pretty
That'd
badass.
be great. They're struggling to remake it for like 20 years now.
Yeah,
almost.
they've had a
Well,
hard
do
time
that.
in reproducing it or
I'm
whatever.
trying to think of a song for that.
The Nine Inch Nails song from the original is like
Don't
the
come
thing
at
that
me
you
with
carry
that
over.
gun. It's not a fake bullet.
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
No.
That wasn't in the script. You don't get at it, Casey. Casey.
No?
You're a devil. You know what?
Edit? Okay, sorry.
Let's move on.
Are we moving on?
Let's move on before Casey says something else really, really, really.
You're the one that got me Founder's Breakfast out. It's your fault.
Jesus Christ.
Okay. So the next one, I have two. They're actually from me.
Oh.
Before I knew I was going to be a co-host.
Well.
Yeah, yeah. And they're kind of cheesy. I'm sorry, but
Come on, bring it in.
I think they promote thought. If you had all the money in the world only to spend on education, you weren't allowed to spend it on houses, nice cars, women, drugs, whatever. Only education. What field of study would you choose, and what profession would you aim for, and why? And if you aren't about that university life, what trade or business would you start?
Medical science.
But like, can you be more specific? Are you wanting to create new and healthier drugs, or
Not really. I just want more research into cures, things like that.
Cures for what?
Diabetes.
I love you.
You're welcome. Then again, I feel like putting on my aluminum foil hat, even if I put the money into it, they wouldn't release the cure for anything because big farm and pharmaceutical drugs are way too
But you're also
much of a
saying
money maker.
that's the field you would go into. Isn't that part of the question?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
you have to pursue.
Yeah, is
that's
that-
Oh,
the-
I have to pursue the
yeah,
field as well?
it's something personal that you would do. Like if you were able,
not like a charity, but like what are you going to do with your life?
Oh,
I
fuck
wish you
that
all could
space.
see Casey's
Space. I'm out.
face.
I'll see you guys later.
You could literally
if I have
see
to actually like study it and be a
Astrophysics.
part of, I'm gonna astrophysics, like anything space related. I'm gonna go to the stars. I'm gonna go explore. I'll see you guys later.
all the mental backpedaling you did was apparent in your eyes.
Yeah, I literally, my mouth dropped and I went, oh, I gotta, no, I'm not.
Yeah,
So if you could be Elon Musk's sidekick, you'd be like, hell yeah.
Right now, I would quit my life and whatever I'm doing here and go be Elon Musk's sidekick.
You'd have to go to Mars.
Yeah, absolutely. I would do it without a doubt.
I just want to point out, Casey was like, medical science, absolutely. I want to help people. And they were like, but you have to do it. He's like, fuck that. I'm going to Mars.
I feel like I should have chosen medical science just automatically.
Actually,
to
you
cure
could
my
do
own ailments,
both.
but
He went from philanthropy to philandering. It just
You could do
on
both
a
and
dime.
find the cure for cancer up on Mars.
I could find the cure for Mars cancer.
District 9 did say that most cures come from alien bodies. So
It's true. It's true.
I would choose the arts, probably visual art, because I'm stubborn and selfish, and pursue graphic noveling with it.
100%.
So you'd pretty much just stick with your current life.
Yeah.
But have a lot more available
But see, that's the
information to you.
thing, because that's
yeah,
what
I'm the selfish one. Got it.
But that's what I like to hear, that somebody's already on the path of something that they want to achieve.
But I also want to like do the whole like rock thing too, and I also have film ideas. Like Frank Miller, not the greatest example because The Spirit's a terrible movie, but he at least did it. You know, he successful graphic novelist, and then one day was like, I'd like to do a movie, and he went and made a movie and released worldwide and everything as a comic book movie and all that. Like, I dare not say it, but I'd like to do the Frank Miller thing, but better.
Right.
So.
No, I get totally.
But I mean, would you go as far as to, are you trying to better your own art, or would you go as far as to like maybe one day opening up your own art school if you had all the funds available to go as far as you wanted within that field?
Well, I like helping people, but I don't have the patience for that. So I don't know.
Oh, I didn't mean to bring that out. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
No, it's
Whoa.
fine. It's fine.
Shit.
Self-awareness.
I like the idea of having a school, especially one down here, because the Kubert School is the only one that's specifically comic books and nothing else, and it's up in New Jersey. Shout out New Jersey. But it's not located anywhere else. I do correspondence courses, but I think having a trade school like that for a very specific niche field that equips you and then employs you immediately upon graduation would be great for the economy and the people in it. But again,
We're
be
starting
too
to see
busy
more like in 2018, trade schools are starting to like really look like a really good, not even an alternative, but like almost a primary directive for people that are considering college. And then they look at this and like they're getting out of trade schools. Again, not to make this political, but there's a lot of that kind of stuff. And I would say, like, to kind of like get into my version of the answer, if I had unlimited resources like that, I would not go take any classes on anything. I would use it to fund projects like I'm already working on. I'm kind of like you in that. I would do more podcasting. I would build a better podcast studio. We would travel and podcast all over the United States. I would build a better music studio, and we would record music. I would go and really like light a fire under my cable business for making instrument cables and things. And I would have like a factory and that kind of, but I would basically just do more of what I'm already doing, you know?
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad to hear two of you are already on the path that you want to be on.
Yep. Bye, fuckers.
Well, Casey's head is in the cloud, so he's like halfway there.
Yeah. Damn straight.
What else we got?
My other question was, and you might not even have an answer for this, but what is your favorite piece of advice or simple aphorism that you feel people should know? So it could be
part of a non-Euclidean vocabulary.
Yeah.
And I appreciate you bringing it into the room.
I'm going to have to think. You guys got anything? I have to think for a minute.
I know I do, but I can't remember.
I actually thought about you, Hunter, when I was trying to figure out exactly what word to use to ask that question.
I actually have one from the late George Carlin, a piece of advice, and it's very simple, gets right to the point. It can't be more blatantly obvious, and it's don't be a dick.
Man, you're deep.
Or mind your own business.
Or mind your own business.
Yeah. Casey's like, basically, don't ask to borrow my phone.
Or ask me to do anything.
I'll tell you, one that comes to mind for me is a quote from the movie Moulin Rouge, where they continually say over and over again, the greatest thing that you will ever learn is to love and be loved in return.
I love that one.
And I think that's a pretty good one. I don't know if it necessarily pertains to every situation in every real day life, but it's wonderful to think about, you know.
Mine's along the lines of Casey's, actually. Now that you made me think about it for a second, I had a friend that passed away, and his last words to the internet were to be a little kinder, a little nicer, you know.
Yeah.
And if I had to be not like so blunt and try to aim for the jokes, I don't know if this is really advice as much as just a really great quote from Martin Luther King, which is, "The arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice."
I like that.
That's good.
Very
like that
much
a
along
lot.
the lines of like, what comes around goes around, but better, I guess. Like,
And I know the minute we turn this off, we're going to think of like 85
I'm
inspirational
sure.
quotes that are so good,
But I mean, anybody listening to this, if you've got an inspirational quote that really touches home, maybe you should help share.
Yeah, send it. We would love to
let
hear
us
it.
know.
We would love to know. Absolutely. Hunter?
Per usual, I don't have anything concise that's an actual quote. I do have, and I won't quote it because it's like 2 paragraphs, but as far as inspirational, at least, I have a favorite passage from the Bible, and I'm very badly not well read with that book, so it's not like I'm a scholar of any sort on it, but
But you're a worship
there's,
leader.
I am.
Praise Hunter.
There's the passage where Christ is being crucified and the thief next to him, or the criminal next to him, calls out everybody and it's like, "This guy's praying for you. You're making a terrible mistake. What's wrong with you?" Blah, 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 blah. And then looks to Jesus and is like, "Hey, I'm a piece of crap and I'm going to die here and I'm going to hell and I get that and I deserve it. Just please don't forget who I am." And Christ is like, "Okay, well, you're going to come to heaven with me, like right now. We're good now." And the reason that's my favorite is the takeaway. And you never want to abuse it and take things for granted, but just the idea that there in a book that holds so much religious and spiritual power, you can find a passage that's entire purpose is to illustrate that literally up to your last actual dying breath, it's never too late to turn who you are around. There's no such thing as a dead end. Like, there's always an opportunity to make a U-turn and try something different.
Sure.
As long as
So-
it's genuine, yeah.
Yeah, please.
My husband, Chris, actually has a pretty deep question for you guys. And if you think about it and you look at people in the top tier of their skill or profession, it can be an art, a job, whatever they're receiving recognition for. It could be athletics, music, hobby. What percentage of them do you think are just extremely raw talent and born with the gift? Or which percentage do you think have to work consistently and practice daily to achieve a high level of recognition?
I think they're 100% the second thing. I think raw talent exists. I'm definitely the person that thinks you're gifted with things and inclinations and natural affinities to pick up something and just be way better at it than other people. But the most you can ever hope for from that is getting your foot in the door, the American Idol option, where you get out there and then they go, "Well, you're great. Here's an opportunity." And then what you do with it is pick it up and run, pass the baton later on in life, or drop it and sit on your ass.
I cannot agree with that more. And I don't even know if I can state that better than you. I think there are people that are kind of naturally predisposed to certain things. Some people are more athletic. Some people are more cerebral. Some people just have better hand-eye coordination than other people. But that alone gets you nowhere. It does nothing. If you could have somebody that's fantastically talented, and if they don't do something, they'll just sit dead in the water. However, people that are at the top of their field and the top of their profession, like the best in the world, the best musician, the best dancer, the best athlete, are all people who worked for it really hard. And I think a mediocre talent can become the best in the world through work. Whereas I don't think even a phenomenal natural talent can succeed if they don't try, if they don't actually put in the effort. It's 100% effort, 0% raw talent, in my opinion.
I think we're just constantly always students. I don't think you can ever be 100% the top of your field.
Yeah, if you're super talented, if you have weird, crazy, just abnormal, raw, natural talent, all it's going to do is make your practice a little more productive. It's not going to make you the best ever. If you ever hear from people that are like the best ever, like the Michael Jordans and the people like that, they'll tell you, like, I stayed when everybody else left. I showed up an hour earlier before everybody else showed up. And then from that, I worked harder. And I won because I outworked the other guy. It's never, I'm just better at this than the other guy. You never hear that, Not at least not the people I consider to be the best, all got that way through practice and effort. It was never
not just a little bit of practice, right? Like
like an
aggressively
insane amount.
practicing.
An insane amount, yeah.
Next
Casey, what do you
question.
think?
Me?
I mean, I know you're not a musician or an artist, but you've seen people that are good at things.
Go ahead, though.
I do enjoy writing, but I don't really feel like I practice writing. I just have an idea that pops in my head and I jot it down and people enjoy it.
That's writing.
Well, I've never
I know,
read...
but it's not really like practice as much as it is just like my mind firing on all pistons. Mm-hmm. And it just, and I don't want to get all mopey and sad and depressing on this, but there are some times where literally I'll just wake up and nothing's firing on any pistons, and I just lay around, watch TV, and feel like I've done nothing all day and feel shitty about it. Mm-hmm. And then there's other days that I wake up, people are like, do you want to do something? Do you want to do this? Do you want to do that? And I'm like, hell yeah, let's get to it. And it's just like, I notice the difference, but I wouldn't say I'm as talented. Like in my storytelling, I'm not as talented as you are artistically drawing, or as you are, musically, or you are vocally. And I don't feel like I practice it, but I guess if I did, I'd be better at it.
You would be better at it if you practiced it.
Man,
Maybe I start just jotting down everything.
Excuse me, I'll add to that too. Also, Rachel is also a phenomenal artist too. Sitting here right across from us, it's not just me and Hunter. Like, she's phenomenal at her craft as well. And I think you're just as good as any of us at what you choose to do. I think being good at anything involves basically two basic things. I think Stephen King said something like this. He said, you've got to know what good work looks like. Mm-hmm. So, like, if you're going to be a great dancer, you have to at least have seen a great dancer.
Right.
And then you've got to have, like, an honest effort. So if you're going to be a great storyteller, you have to have heard somebody tell stories well, and then just give it your best shot. That's the two most basic things. You got to know what it looks like and really, really fucking try,
Well, here's my 2 cents on that. I really appreciate how you bring up that I'm a phenomenal dancer, but here's the thing. I acknowledge I do not practice. If I practice, I'll maybe go in practice mode for a couple weeks and then I'll tear off for months. My practice is when I go out on the weekends, which is nothing. I don't consider that practice. I consider that going out and having fun. I would say that I would naturally have a gift for what I did simply because I did not practice as much as all of my friends at dance do. That being said, I don't even want to know what level of dance I would be on if I actually did apply myself to it.
Mm-hmm. And I would say, how long have you been dancing?
I've been dancing since 2002.
Okay, so again, even if you don't have this like super aggressive practice regimen,
I've had time.
You've been dancing for a long time.
But if I've actually practiced in those past 16 years,
yeah,
I can't even fathom where I might be in the dance world. But I am networked and connected with dancers that do practice on a daily regimen, if not a weekly regimen, that are definitely top tier dancers. I'm good enough to recognize where my flaws are. Yeah. And I have a lot of flaws. I just happen to be in a small town where there isn't much of a higher level of talent that actually goes out into the scene that I'm particularly in. There's definitely much more talented people in Knoxville, but they're more they more teach or they perform on, I'm friends with people that helped write and choreograph and perform for, I think it was Chris Blue. Was that
right,
the voice guy that performed here in Knoxville?
Yeah. And his brother Julius is in Valerie's band.
Yeah, and you don't see them when you got to the club because the club isn't a scene where the talent necessarily goes unless you're into club dancing or into the music that's played at the club. But luckily I know them, and I do know that they practice regularly. Not only do they practice, but they teach regularly. I wish that I had applied myself more over the past.
Well, that opens up a big thing about like how good could you be if you didn't have anything in your way, like if you didn't have to go to work and like if you didn't have to bills, if you didn't have to do laundry and just whatever, if you literally had nothing to do except practice. I remember there's a phenomenal guitar player that I've liked for my whole life named Paul Gilbert. He's one of the best ever in the entire world, the most popular guitar players ever. And I was talking with a friend of mine one time. We were just marveling at how good this guy is and how many hours it must have fucking taken to get that good. And he goes, I'll tell you what would kill me is to find out that this guy like worked 3 jobs and like had to take care of like his grandparents and like did all this stuff and still got that good, because it's always that kind of stuff that stops people from like putting in the practice. So,
And I think it's interesting that you point out that you dance for fun, and because I feel like what you said is basically what applies to me in my storytelling and like writing stuff down. Is I don't practice it. I just do it for fun. And when I'm not having fun with it, or if I'm not in the mindset to do it, I just don't.
Yeah, I mean,
and I
there's
guess maybe I
plenty of
should
nights-
force myself, but I don't know if that's a good idea because then that's
You have to force yourself for 30 minutes to an hour before you'll actually find a breakthrough. Because I have forced myself to practice dance before, and there's nights where I don't find a breakthrough, but then there's nights where I'm really glad that I got up and tried to practice.
Okay.
But mainly I do only do it for fun, and there's plenty of nights where I go out to the club to dance, and even though the music's phenomenal, I maybe have had to work 8 hours that day, which I clean houses, which is very laborious. And no matter how much Red Bull I drink, I just can't find the energy to move around no matter how good the music is. So
yeah.
it's definitely mine's for fun. So
we have 2 for fun, 2 for
serious
Monday.
art.
all
Hey.
practice.
Well, if you're doing something you love, it doesn't feel that much like work. We talked about
Like this podcast.
Yeah, we talked about that in one of our previous episodes. Remember that we were talking about when you were talking about being tired and like coming in anyway. Like sometimes getting there is just what it takes.
Yeah,
And
that's
it's
the
whatever's
hurdle.
in your way. You got to get that shit out of the way. But like when I finally get here, or whenever I meet up with Rachel, or when I'm playing music, or none of that stuff is. It just comes naturally. So I get what I play guitar for fun, but I play it like real serious. I approach it real seriously. But at the end of the day, it's a source of joy. It's not a source of like back-breaking labor or anything like that. You know.
Yeah.
You guys ready for the next one?
All right, so this one is from Gabby Palladino in Washington State.
Hello, Gabby.
I'm assuming Washington State. It just says in Washington.
She's out in Washington. Gabby is one of our listeners. She's also a super, old friend of mine. We worked together for a little while, and she does listen every episode. She's a constant listener. Gabby, we love you. We can't wait to answer your question.
If y'all could travel anywhere in the continental U.S., where would it be and why?
Honestly, I'd go to Washington State.
Well, she did say bonus points if you say Washington.
You know, I'd go to Washington too. I'd go hang out with my friend Gabby and maybe have a little gin.
I would go to the Northwest Coast just to hang out and like camp in the redwood forest. Like I think that'd be something phenomenal just to hang out around those giant trees. I mean, I don't like humidity or heat, and I feel like the whole Northwest area is very mild at best, rainy and kind of cool, and so it fits me perfectly.
I've wanted to go to Maine ever since getting into Stephen King.
Dude, Bar Harbor is a beautiful town.
I love northern cities. I love small towns in general, and it's with a bunch of caveats. But if it was work was steady and you were on a vacation where you didn't have to hurt for any money, you could literally go and just do whatever, and it wouldn't do anything to your actual budget. I'd probably grab Libby and just go somewhere in Maine or New York or Pennsylvania, pick a random city and go, let's just spend a week here and see what happens. All the hole in the wall stuff and the difference of culture between the two halves of the country, north and south, that way alone, like the amount of people that you find just going into a neighborhood, let alone a different state.
I actually in 2009 took a trip up northeast, went to Boston, went and hung out in Salem for a night during Halloween. It was like around October time. It was phenomenal. Absolutely the coolest experience.
Sounds awesome.
And then me, my dad, my stepmom, my cousin, and then from Salem, we drove for pretty much an entire day all the way to Bar Harbor, Maine, and spent a good 2 or 3 days in Bar Harbor. And it's just this tiny town. Everyone knows everybody. Like you see cruise ships come off the coast with fishing ships. Every pub you go into, after one day of being there, people, you go in the next time, people are like, hey, how's it going? Call you by your first name. It's Maine, at least Bar Harbor, Maine is the coolest little area ever. Like I would love to move and live there.
I hear more about Maine than a lot of other states, surprisingly. And it could be the close people that are around me have attachments to Maine for whatever reason. My coworkers' parents are from there and whatever. But I feel like every time I turn around, someone's talking about Maine.
Maine is like the Canada of the U.S.
I don't even know what does that
All right.
mean?
No, that's fine. Go ahead, Spence. I'm just not going to acknowledge that. That was a little weird.
Yeah, what was I answered. I said I'd go to Washington. I'll
Okay.
go hang out with Gabby. We give each other a high five in public.
I'd go to Nevada. My dad's side of the family's from there, and I've never met any of them. And then I'd also like to play professional poker out in Las Vegas.
There you
So
go.
I actually went to
Great
Vegas
answer.
for my brother's wedding, and that's also a really neat area. Although after I left, I was kind of like, people were like, so you go back? And I was like, I lost a lot of money while I was there. Probably not.
there's a place called the Moon Rocks, I think. I think that's where my mom got married to my dad. I wouldn't mind seeing that. It seems like there's a lot of nature versus city life in Nevada. There's a balance, and I'd like to see what it's all about.
I don't mean to keep interjecting in everyone's trips, but I actually took a trip. Me and my dad and my stepmom took a RV trip from Knoxville. We drove all the way to New Mexico for a family reunion. I went and saw like old mountain dwellings where it's like, wooden ladders up the side of a mountain into the hole in a wall, and walk around, cave dwellings. You see like these rocks out in the middle of the desert that have like old crazy squiggle, like, hieroglyphic kind of stuff on it. It's cool. Like, I love traveling. I enjoy seeing other people's culture.
Cool. I've never been out in the desert. I've never seen any like cliff dwellings or any of that shit. Like, I would totally love to go see that. Or what is that famous road? Is it Route 66 that goes through the desert as you're going?
That would be a really fun road trip.
I would love to. I would take that road trip with friends like you guys. I would only do it in some kind of a car that was made before 1980.
Beacon House on the
I guess
road.
now that I think about it, I think I should publicly.
Fuck.
I think
66 Mustang convertible, something crazy like whatever James Dean would fucking drive. I would drive across the desert in that.
Now that I think about it, I should probably publicly thank my father for taking me on so many trips across the United States, because I don't think I would have seen half of these places without him. Be like, let's go to New Mexico.
And
all right, let's go to Maine.
He's instilled in you
Sure,
an
let's go.
unnatural need to leave the planet.
Yeah.
So
he has nurtured my want to explore all the way to the point where now I want to go explore other planets.
You like getting out so much that it can't even be terrestrial anymore. Casey likes to travel. He's like, fuck it, I'm done with this planet.
I adore the South, though. My grandmother took me all over the South because that's where our family's from, and she would take us on the Natchez Trace and things like that, just off the beaten path. And anywhere from Mississippi to Georgia just has this very ghostly feel to it.
I love all walks of life. I love the South. I sound like a total baby. If it just weren't so sticky and filled with so many mean bugs, I would like it more.
I'm glad you ended that with bugs. So many mean people.
But I mean, what part of the United States do you feel would be the most haunted? I feel like the South is the most haunted out of all the corners of the United States.
I'd say the West.
I would say the Midwest, yeah.
Really?
I feel like New England is the most haunted just because it's the oldest. Who knows? I don't know.
That's funny how we all have a different opinion on.
I'd say like ghost towns and like all like, cowboys and Indians, like all that bloody history and all so many deaths and all these ghost towns and stuff would probably hold a lot of.
I feel like the voodoo in Louisiana has actually brought the ghosts forward. Throughout the South.
Well, moving on, what else have we got there?
Gabby had a second part to her question, and she was wondering what other topics would you like to record podcasts on?
Like if we...
Do you have any upcoming topics that you'd like to push out there? Or?
Really, it's just day to day. Like we don't even plan it because we feel like it's more human that way. It's more organic to just sit down, shoot the shit, and then let a topic form. So we don't even know what the topic's going to be when we start recording. We just start talking.
And sometimes we wind up, there are certain things, recurring themes that always come up, like scary things, haunted things, horror movies.
Well, that's just because that's
music.
what we all...
Movies in general.
Oh, that's just what us three form on. Like, we all just kind of meet in the middle on that.
But I think there's still a lot of neat, like, I do think it's important to talk about things that can't be streamed.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's important to talk about things you can't access through Netflix or YouTube or on the surface of a phone. Like, I think it's important to talk about, like, if you're going to have any real philosophical discussion, and I'm not saying every discussion has to be philosophical, because fuck that, but when you get into that, there's certain aspects of life that, like, you want to talk about that you can't just, you know what I mean? Like, it's worth getting outside of certain things to talk about. But I would talk about anything that seemed compelling, just like if you were standing around a group of friends talking and whatever, you know.
All right. What's the next one we got there?
This next one is for you, Casey, and it's a pretty long question.
Oh, is this the one?
It comes from Jason Turner.
So
I've been waiting.
I think this is going to be the last one.
I've been waiting.
It's going to be the
one.
last one, unless you guys would like to hear another question from.
I've been waiting.
Let's see how long this takes, because I think I saw this and it's pretty.
It's an
in-depth.
essay.
It's an essay.
Thanks, Jason.
Get out of
Thank you,
Rachel.
All right.
Get out.
So Jason Turner says, I got a question for Casey for y'all's mailbag.
Ooh.
Let's say.
Like you had a little funk to it. That's great.
Yeah. Let's say that in the not so distant future, so it could be tomorrow, it could be tonight, it could be a year from now.
Okay.
But not so distant future. Casey actually has a real life, legitimate chance to take a trip to Mars.
Going.
All expenses paid. Stay as long as you want. Do whatever you want when you get there. You could run your own service where you'd call people's missing cell phones. You could set up a poster company that puts semi-meaningful quotes on top of pictures of cats and call it Yucks and Yums. You could open a sandwich deli birth control clinic for women and call it Hams for Your Yams. Go effing crazy.
I love you, Jason.
God, I do
You are
so much.
you're the best.
You're the fucking best, man.
There's one condition, though.
Yeah.
The selection process for who gets to go to Mars is put up to a vote. Not only do you need a popular vote, but you must also vote for yourself.
Okay.
If you don't vote for yourself, you're automatically out of the running. By now, I'm sure you can see where I'm going here.
Yeah.
Not me, but
No, yeah.
but Jason. Yeah. Casey, with your stance against voting,
I don't have a stance against voting, by the way, but yes.
you couldn't possibly ask anybody else for their vote, much less vote for yourself, without being seen as a complete hypocritical a-hole. What do you do, Casey?
Well, first of all, I have no stance against voting.
What do you do?
I would vote for myself and then tell people to vote for me to go to Mars, and people would do it because they don't want to see my ugly piece of shit face anymore.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, wow. I didn't see it going on.
No, honestly, like,
That
I
button
went
hooked.
back. I actually went back and listened to this episode about voting, and like, I don't have a stance against voting. My thing is, I've never been inspired enough to go vote. No one's ever inspired me enough to get up off the couch and go vote. So, with that being said, this would be inspiration enough for definitely me to vote for the first time.
Jason has inspired Casey to vote.
I get
Yeah.
inspired to anti-vote. There's definitely people I don't want to vote for, but
I'm also not going to give.
in-
I'm not going to give someone my vote just to anti-vote somebody else.
Yeah, well, yeah, I don't feel educated enough on the topics to throw out a vote elsewhere.
Like when it comes to Hillary and Trump, that whole political thing, I hate both of them. So I decided not to vote. Period. Because there's no to me, there's no such thing of voting for the lesser of two evils. They're still both evil. I'm not going to go out and waste a vote or waste my time to vote for a lesser of two evils, quote unquote.
What's funny, it's not a waste of time. It's literally like 2 minutes.
I know, but I just,
You go in, show your ID, vote, walk out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but that's like the time it takes to load the
And,
PlayStation.
yeah, that's
yeah,
right.
yeah, and then you can Snapchat your "I voted" sticker and feel good about yourself.
I've
Casey's
never,
like, I've already made a BLT in that time.
yeah. Oh,
By
God.
the way, the date to sign up for voting has passed. I hope those of you that do want to vote
The
have
Knox
registered.
County election's coming up. If anybody's going to get behind Glenn Jacobs, or if Glenn's ever going to come and talk to us on our podcast, Glenn, we're starting to feel like you don't want to come on the podcast.
A little bit.
Who cares?
He won by 12 votes, and I guarantee you 14 of those were ours. So he should come on here.
That's probably not true, but we'd like to think about it. Glenn, we'd love to have you if you want to come on.
Yeah.
We're 20 episodes in. We're obviously not going away. Come tell us what you think
Every
about
episode,
stuff.
Glenn Jacobs, shout out.
You could convince Casey.
Don't make any promises.
I can read questions to you.
That's right.
Yeah.
We'll have Rachel read your question.
Yeah.
She sounds much more eloquent than we do.
But yeah, I'm going to Mars. Put a vote in for me. I'll make a poll.
Yeah, you get to go with Space Force now.
Ugh.
Since we discussed Space Force, do you guys know that they've now come up with Space ISIS?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
They said people went, why the fuck do we need Space Force? And they went, because Space ISIS.
All we need is a floppy disk and
Spices.
Jeff Goldblum to take him down.
Can that be the next Jurassic Park? Like
sounds
dinosaurs
like
on Mars?
Jurassic World.
It sounds like there's a
Fallen
couple dinosaurs
Universe.
making decisions in Congress already. So anyway,
But
You shouldn't talk about your neighbors.
well, guys, look, before we clear up, has anybody else got a question for any of us or our guest or anything? You guys want to ask Rachel? anything?
how bad was it to actually be in the room with us this time?
You know I love being around you guys.
She's not.
look at
She's
that.
obviously very patient too.
I don't care.
So anyway, is that it?
That's it.
We're gonna call it on that one right there.
Yeah, I think so.
I wish I had something compelling I could ask you guys. I wish I had like a fun question.
Yeah, we don't
Spencer?
have that much time though, so
Yeah, we don't have that much time. That's a good way to end. Never mind. I'm going to let that
Ladies
end
and
there.
gentlemen,
Should
we
we-
are officially out of time.
If I get this edited by Wednesday night, it's going to be a goddamn miracle.
are we gonna? We should end it like The Sopranos and just like end it mid sent. I'm a high quality bitch. Hot dogs are too cheap. They fall apart in my. I'm a high quality bitch. Hot dogs are too cheap. Too cheap. Fall apart in my meat.